Do you have any questions?
Jesus Christ said something to the effect that a man who feels sexual desire when he looks at a woman has already committed adultery in his heart. If this is true, there is almost no man past adolescence who has not committed adultery. I would like to ask for your comments on this point.
When I was young, I was very much troubled by this. The idea that it is wrong even to think something in your mind is painful beyond expression. And the more pure-minded a young person is, the greater the pain becomes. I do not treat the question of sexual desire with the same strictness as did Jesus Christ. Strict words like those might be good medicine for some people, but they can cause enormous pain to conscientious people. If you only heard these words and knew no more about him, you might tend to think that Jesus was not a very great person. However, when you think about the conditions of the time, you realize that there were so many lax and corrupt relations going on between men and women that if Jesus had not used such extreme words there would have been no effect at all. We have to consider the differences in the times when we think about those words. I always explain that when mistaken thoughts come to mind, it is at the moment when the very same quantity of mistaken thoughts from the past is meant to vanish away. When sexual desire occurs, the harder you try to stop those thoughts, thinking that they are wrong, the more they will arise. So rather than trying to stop those thoughts from coming out, it will be easier to extinguish them when you focus your attention on other things. Yet it can also be quite difficult to focus your attention on other things. Therefore, in this situation I say that it would be better to just leave the thoughts be. If you get upset about them, it will take more time to extinguish all the thoughts that keep popping up in your mind. When you have such thoughts, it means that what has been hidden at the bottom is now coming up to the surface, so when all those thoughts have surfaced, they will all have vanished, for certain. Men, in general, know through experience that those emerging thoughts are not so weak that they can be readily stopped when you try to stop them. When the thought comes out, it does not mean that you have done something wrong. Sexual desire can even be considered an irresistible force to the male nature, and it is a force beyond the goodness or badness of physical human beings. If a man is blamed for the emergence of such thoughts at the sight of a woman, it will be unbearable. When this kind of thought comes up, in other words, at the time when the thought is about to vanish, your mental attitude and the way you deal with it will determine whether or not it forms an unharmonious cause in your future. In any case, I suggest that you start by recognizing that all thoughts and all actions are manifestations of past karma, and that they start to vanish at the moment when they appear. At the same time, please refrain from thinking things that hurt you, so that you may align yourself more closely with the divine will. It would be best for human beings, particularly men, to live with dignity and confidence, without fretting or feeling timid. A person who is just cautious in his or her behavior, without a positive drive to do good, will not be able to do good work on a grand scale.